Here we go then, the formation lap gets underway and the excitement here is building as we near ever closer to the start of the race. Which team will come out on top? Who's got their strategies right for today's race? Well, we'll soon find out.
Here we are then, everybody, moments away from the start of the Purple Sector F1 League, round 15 of 24 here for season 12. And we've only got 11 cars on track here tonight, unfortunately, because a lot of the drivers are watching the Arsenal match, which is a bit of a shame, I must admit. But then again, it is the Champions League, and they're 1-0 down at the moment. So hopefully that changes, because it'd be nice to see an English team win it. But nonetheless, here we are, lining up on the grid, getting ready to go racing here for the Dutch Grand Prix tonight. So here we go then, 11 cars on the grid, about to go racing here at Zandvoort. And it's a lights out, we're underway there. Looks like a good start from Matty Pitt from pole position. C. Faulkner also got a good one. Looking to the inside into turn one, a bit too far back now. Justify looking around the outside of C. Faulkner, and he's going to keep himself there. And Justify swoops around the outside up into second place. C. Faulkner there, caught napping a little bit there at the start. Tried to make a move on Matty Pitt, didn't work, and got mugged there by the McLaren. As we see Freddie there behind, ahead of Mark, followed by T, with Ice Wolf there. White Shadow behind him, ahead of G.C. with Clen running in P10, the championship leader here, not having the qualifying at all, crashing out the session early on. He's already made up one place though, and he's looking to try and move ahead of G.C. as well here, as Markin has got ahead of Freddie up into P4 on this opening lap of the race. But Clen here will be looking forwards over the course of this race. You'd think in the early stages, saying that though, Street Boy's got back ahead of him here. So Street Boy there getting around the outside of Clen and G.C. and Street Boy's pulled off an absolute worldie move there, up into 9th place from 11th place a moment ago. As Clen here looking to the inside of Street Boy coming into the stadium section, just a little bit too far away at the moment, but you can bet he's going to be there waiting for his opportunity when it eventually arises. As we got Matty Pitt coming out the final corner, leading the race. Justify is disconnected momentarily from the session. Hopefully Justify can get himself back in before losing too much time in this race. But nonetheless, we see the leaders coming into turn one as Ice Wolf is looking to the inside, and he's made that move as he made that move as we see Ice Wolf there moving ahead of T, and up into P5 he goes. So lovely move there from Ice Wolf. Saying that, T's on the inside with his bank left-hander as he goes there, lost the car, lost control a little bit, and that's allowed White Shadow hard up into 6th place. So White Shadow driving a cracker here in the early stage of this one. So as Freddie's moved back ahead of Justify into third place, because obviously Justify's not at the screen at the moment, so that's AI in the car. Mark has moved up into 2nd place. What a great opening lap here from him, as Freddie will now look to try and chase him down for 2nd place in this race at this point in the race. C. Faulkner has a moment. What has happened to him? He lined up on the front row of the grid. He drops to 3rd place on the first lap, and he's now in 11th place. So C. Faulkner's had an absolute mare somewhere. I don't quite know where, but clearly some kind of catastrophic incident here for our driver in the Visa Cash App RB thingy-majiggy AlphaTauri Ujima Flip. And this has not gone well at all here for C. Faulkner. In the meantime, we've got Matty Pitt coming out the final corner here, about to complete the lap 2 of the race. You can see he's got best part of a second here to Mark, so he's comfortable, but certainly not out of danger at this point. Freddie's right there behind these guys. Justifies rejoin the session, and you just saw his car solidify there, which means that we're now at the wheel once again. So Ice Wolf here putting the pressure, but I feel that Justify will probably start to stretch away from Ice Wolf in a moment. And we'll see that 4th place consolidate, and then hopefully for Justify maybe try and chase down the podium runners of Mark and Freddie. But Matty Pitt still leading the race here in the early stages of this Dutch Grand Prix here at the Purple Sector F1 League. We see Clen has moved ahead of Street Boy up into 8th place, so obviously made the move off of the line, then lost the position during the first lap, but has now got back ahead of him here on lap 3 of the race. Now Clen starting to settle into a rhythm, starting to feel a bit more confident here in these tyres. Obviously he's gone for the medium tyres compared to Street Boy on the softs, so now those medium tyres starting to warm up, and the softs will be already starting to feel the pace a little bit. They tend to go off rapidly, so although they're nowhere near their shelf life, or sell-by date should I say, they're certainly going to, after 3 laps you start to feel noticeable wear on the soft. So Glenn certainly now has got more confidence in those medium tyres than Street Boy has in those soft. And Glenn now sizing up T down the start finish straight, and that's going to be job done. Easy pickings there for the Red Bull and the championship leader up into P7. As Freddie and Justify side by side here. Justify looking to try and pick up another place here. He's got his teammate just in front of Freddie as well. So the McLaren there of Mark will be looking behind because his championship rival teammate is right there as well. Mark himself not in the championship battle, but obviously his teammate certainly is, and that might be a dynamic that is interesting. Oh no, and Justify's gone wide there onto the gravel as he was caught out a little bit there by Freddie's braking point and ended up losing 2 places in that one, but probably about 2 seconds overall. And oh, what a shame of Justify, as he's now really got a mountain to climb here in this race. Freddie's braking point, I think, just caught Justify out there. He was just, I think maybe he was reacting to the drivers in front of him, and that's a disaster for Justify because he started on the soft tyres. These front 3 are on a medium, so they're in that very much that advantageous strategy here. So Justify is going to have to do something a bit different here in order to win this race. As we see these leaders coming over the line here to complete that forward race. Mark there looking to the inside, DRS open. He's going to move here into turn 1. Not quite at the moment. Matty Pitt clings onto that one for the time being, but Mark driving a really, really impressive race in the early stage of this one. Freddie's still keeping to the coattails at these 2 at the moment. A little bit late on the brakes there as they went through the bank left-hander, but for the time being, it's been a very, very clean first few laps from these 4 guys at the front. Matty Pitt, the Mark, Freddie and I12, and actually White Shadow as well, to be fair, running in 5th place. I'll tell you what, White Shadow is driving a heck of a race right now. Really is extracting his talents in a way that we haven't seen yet on the Motive Racing channel here in the Purple Sector F1 League, as he's trying to hold on here from Justify. Justify looking to go around the outside here. I think this is going to be job done here for Justify. It is job done, and the McLaren moves up into P5. Now Glenn is going to look to try and knock White Shadow while he's down here, as he's looking to the inside into the stadium section, but a little bit too far away just at the moment. Nothing doing. Goes a little bit wide there on the exit. This White Shadow again. No, he's not going to be a problem for that one. And we continue on our way as Matty Pitt coming out of the final corner here, and he's going into the pits though. He's not though. Just trying to break the slipstream there. Obviously knows that Mark has got a bit of a run, and trying to stop Mark from getting that slingshot effect down the start finish straight. For the time being, Matty Pitt holds on to this one, as we've still got a 4-car train here battling for 4th place. It could very quickly become a 5-car train if Justify is able to close that gap down. He is now within a second of I12, so this is officially now, I would say, a 5-car train battling over the lead here at Zandvoort, but it's still Matty Pitt who heads that train, and Mark's still unable to make that DRS work down the start finish straight. Isn't close enough coming in through that final corner to be able to really have a tilt at taking the lead. But that could all change in a blink of an eye, because we all know how one little mistake in these F1 cars can really cost you. One little mistake, considering how fast these cars go, it can be extremely costly. But at the moment, Matty Pitt still has a slender advantage in the moment as to come out of the stadium section. Once again here, half a second to gap to Mark. Let's see if Mark's going to be close enough here to potentially have a crack here into turn 1. He looks like he's reasonably close. There's Matty Pitt, a nice line out of the last corner. Here goes Mark then with the DRS, with the slipstream. Surely it's going to be a potential move here into turn 1. He's on the inside, and Matty leaves him the space there, sees him coming, and just a little bit too tight there with Mark. And now Freddie is going to try and capitalise on this. Mark just about clings onto that one. Freddie was looking racy there, I tell you what. He saw his opportunity. It didn't quite present itself that time around, but next up it could be, or a lap after that, who knows what's going to happen. But Justify moved ahead of Icewolf up into 4th place nonetheless, and can now try and apply the pressure to these medium runners in front of him. Needs to really be making these soft tyres work at the moment, otherwise it's going to be a very tricky second stint to the race, let's say that. Oh, as Mark there gets out of shape, and Freddie swoops through up into 2nd place, and Icewolf has got back ahead of Justify here. For how much longer though? Because Justify is still right on the back of these, but maybe Justify was caught out of it by Mark's little escapade there, and potentially that's what's dropped him behind Icewolf. But Icewolf there was Johnny on the spot, ready to take the position as soon as it was available. As they're now coming through the final corner here, about to complete lap 7 of the race. Matty Pitt still has that lead by the best part of a second over Freddie. Freddie obviously now He's the leader of the chasing pack and has still got DRS on Matty Pitt, which will allow him to get a little bit closer here. But it was Mark who was chasing Matty Pitt for the first few laps. Now it's Freddie who assumes the role of chasing driver here. Freddie's teammate Davidoff not here tonight. I know a lot of people are watching the Arsenal game tonight. I know that Davidoff is quite well known for being a Scotsman, but I wonder if he's watching Arsenal anyway, because I know that a lot of people in Britain are currently rooting for Arsenal to win the Champions League. Oh no! As we see Mark there getting out of shape, going through that long right-hander and dropping down to P6 there. A bit of contact as he came through the corner with his teammate, I think, Justify. So what is going on there, boys? Come on, sort it out. But yeah, Justify up to third place, Mark, now down to P6. So really, that has gone an absolute horror show there for Mark. As we watch Matty Pitt still ahead of Freddie, but Freddie a little bit closer this time around as they come through the stadium section once again here. And Freddie, about 7/10 of a second. I think he's probably a little bit too far away to make a move into turn one, unless he can get a really good run here through this final corner. I'll tell you what, he's close, he's a bit closer. He's just a little bit too far away, but he's definitely putting Matty under some pressure here. These two are actually gapping Justify at this point. Now the medium tyres are the tyre to be on. Justify really shot himself in the foot in those early laps, but we'll see Clen there moving up into fourth place ahead of Ice Wolf. So now Clen has gone from P10 to P4. It could even be P11 actually. I think it was P11, you know. I can't quite remember where he was on the grid. He was either second to last or last, but he's currently running in fourth place here in this race. So it's been an electric first quarter to this Dutch Grand Prix here for our championship leader, as we see Matty Pitt still continuing to lead Freddie, but Freddie is putting him under the cosh right now. He's upping the ante here on the back of our reigning champion, and Matty Pitt has won a couple of races this season. It hasn't been the sort of season that he had last season where he took the title, but he's certainly in there or thereabouts, and he's not a million miles off for the championship lead. And obviously tonight with the absentees, Davidoff mainly not being here, it's going to be an enormous number of points on offer for Matty and Justify. Obviously Clen's here, so we'll be scoring some points, but this really does bring a couple of the other guys into play a little bit. But nonetheless, we come over the line here to complete that line of the race, and Freddie's very close. Here we go. It's going to be the lead for Freddie, surely into turn one. No, his top end is not there. I'll tell you what, he had the speed coming down the straight, but the top end is not doing it for him. He's obviously he's geared himself more for qualifying, and it seems like he hasn't got the top end to overtake at the end of the straight. So Freddie here has maybe left himself a bit vulnerable. Maybe he needs to go for the undercut here. That's potentially got to be the strategy for Freddie, but in order to get the undercut and also make the hards last to the end, if indeed he's going to go for the hards, you probably need to wait a couple more laps. Saying that, we see a few drivers starting on the soft tyres. I wonder what their plan is. Are they going to do soft hard or soft medium? I reckon medium hard's got to be the strategy here. To be honest, I can't see a medium soft being an option, because you'd have to go to about lap 22, 23 on these medium tyres to do that. So I'm pretty sure we're going to be seeing a medium hard, and the guys who started on the soft, it'll be a soft hard kind of thing. But nonetheless, we see him coming out of the final corner here to complete lap 10 of the race, and Freddie just still on the back of Matty at the moment. He's getting closer and closer and closer, but still just a little bit too far away. As we see Clen there moving ahead of Justify up its third place into turn one. That's job done there for the championship leader, taking points off of one of his rivals here in the standings, despite obviously Justify starting up near the front and Clen starting down in P10. It's been a really, really strong first stint here from Clen. But it does appear like potentially the medium tyres are the stronger tyre around here, especially after 3 or 4 laps. So maybe Justify has got to put the hards on a little bit earlier than these guys, try and get the undercut. It will be a sacrifice because his tyres will be shot at the end, but maybe that's got to be the roll of the dice that he makes here to keep his championship intact here, because it does appear that the medium tyres are very, very good around here, which in theory should mean that the harder compounds tend to excel. So maybe the harder tyres could be a good fit. As soon as we're in that window, I reckon that we'll be seeing Justify into the pits before these guys. Especially the fact he's on those soft tyres, which are going to be absolutely caving in at this point. As they're coming around the final corner here to complete lap 11, and Justify staying out for the time being. It's got Ice Wolf all over the back here, looking to the inside. Hopefully he's on soft tyres, but Ice Wolf not close enough that time, because Justify had DRS on the top three, Freddie, Matty and Glenn, which was allowing the defence to ensue, as we see Glenn getting a bit closer there, going through the bank left-hander, but he can't quite make that move just at the moment. It's still Freddie out the front with a slender advantage over Matty Pitt. Matty Pitt is keeping him on his toes despite losing the lead to him a couple of laps ago. Freddie made that move into turn one, but Matty's stuck to the task resolutely so far since then. There are the top five. There's Mark, who's not dropped off of them, to be fair to him. He's still sticking with them at the moment. He's not fallen off of the pace at all. So he's going to be right there with them in the pit window. Sure, he can put the leaders under a bit of pressure here. If he comes in to the pits before them, then the undercut could be on, and he could be a threat to these guys for sure. But nonetheless, we see them coming through the final corner once again, and it's currently following my leader. In the case of Freddie, is now got the lead. It was Matty Pitt for the first few laps. Oh no, Matty Pitt! Oh my goodness! He made a huge error there coming out the final corner, and he's coming to the pits to save his blushes there. Would have only lost about a second or two, but I'm pretty sure there'll be some substantial front wing damage on that car. He's put the hard tyres on, and yet he is undergoing a front wing replacement. So Matty Pitt is off and away, but that would have cost him overall about 7 or 8 seconds. The front wing change would have cost him about 5 seconds, and that incident itself would have cost him probably about 2 seconds, because he was able to pull straight into the pits afterwards. So Matty Pitt probably lost him about 7 or 8 seconds. That's going to hurt his race. He's gone for the undercut though, so the question is, are these guys going to cover him off, or are they going to stay out and try and have that tyre delta in their favour at the end of the race? Because obviously when you've got the fresher tyres, you can really reap the benefits towards the end of the race, because the tyres start to degrade much quicker towards the end. And if your tyres are 3 or 4, even 3 or 4 laps fresher, then it can make an enormous difference in closing laps of the race, not just pace-wise, but also confidence as well, going wheel to wheel. Knowing that your tyres are going to grip up better than the other drivers, it actually gives you a huge psychological advantage. It's not just about raw pace, but nonetheless, they're coming out of the final corner here. Freddie still leads the race narrowly, but here comes Glenn, looking to try and make them for the lead of the race, and Glenn has gone from 10th on the grid up into the lead here on lap 14 of this Dutch Grand Prix. What an opening few laps it's been from him. Justify and Ice Wolf are still keeping these two on their toes right now. Is Justify and Ice Wolf, are these guys planning to do a soft medium strategy here? That would be unbelievable if they actually do that. I'd be very shocked to see that. Sorry, I do apologise. That was oh god, I'm choking. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, Justify and Ice Wolf, I mean, they've got to come in soon, because the soft tyres are going to be shot to pieces. You saw Matty Pitt there on the mediums dropping out of the final corner. You know, the tyre wear is no joke. So good. So I do apologise. That is utterly cringe there. But yeah. Anyway, Glenn still has the lead by just under a second here, but he's only taken the lead just less than a lap ago. As we see, Mark's moved out of Ice Wolf into 4th place. So Ice Wolf there making a bit of a mistake. Maybe the soft tyres are now starting to really feel the pace here. Is Ice Wolf going to come in? No, staying out for the time being. He's got DRS now on the back of Mark, getting him a little bit closer here towards turn one. Still a little bit too far away just at the moment. Glenn still has this lead over Freddie at the moment as they're coming through the bank left hand here on lap 15 of the race. But I'll tell you what, the soft runners have gone a long way into this race, and I have a feeling that if the softs can go 15 laps, then the mediums, you know, logically should be able to go at least 21. So I wouldn't be at all surprised now to see Justify and Ice Wolf putting the mediums on, but they are going to have to be very, very careful on the tyres. They'll have to be very, very kind to them. They have to be caressing them and just gently, yeah. I'll refer to Daniel Ricciardo on that one. If you know, you know. But anyway, Glenn, nonetheless, still has the lead as they're coming into the stadium section here on lap 15, and you can see T's moved ahead of Streetboy up into P6. Oh no, Streetboy's made a mistake here, and I think he might have gone into the wall. I'm not quite sure whether or not he made contact with the barrier. It remains to be seen, but ultimately he's made a bit of a mistake there and has lost the position at the very least, and is now 7 seconds adrift to the driver who just overtook him. As we go back to the leaders here, we've got Glenn, Freddie and Justify. And Justify still staying out despite being on those soft tyres. So this is an incredibly long stint here from Justify, it really is. Obviously, probably what we're trying to do here is get to a point in the race where the mediums can be pushed to their limit without having to hold back or conserve tyres. So that's probably what's going on here, which would explain why maybe the pace wasn't quite what we would have anticipated being on the faster tyres in the first stint, because Justify's still right there, and clearly there's been a lot of tyre saving going on from our McLaren driver here. So yeah, this is looking actually reasonably good at the moment for Justify, I've got to say. Ken in the meantime still has this lead by best part of a second over Freddie, but Freddie has stuck to the task over the course of this lap here. So we could be seeing a bit of a challenge from Freddie on the back of the leader as this stint wears on. Still these drivers staying out. They're going to be coming in at some point soon, you would have thought. Are Glenn and Freddie going to hold out for the soft tyres here? What's Matty Pitt doing as well? Because Matty Pitt's in clean air at the moment, although he's obviously lost a lot of time with the situation of having a longer pit stop. Ice Wolf's been into the pits here, so he's coming in now for, I would assume, a set of medium tyres. So there's the pit crew, and yep, yellow mark medium tyres going on the Aston Martin there. And Glenn's still out the front, has got under a second of a gap here over Freddie at the moment. Justify just dropped a little bit off of Freddie over the course of this lap, but nothing major. I wonder if Justify's going to push it one more lap here and just put the mediums on for this second stint, and then should be able to push them to their absolute limit for the rest of the race. Let's come through the final corner here. Out to complete lap 17 of the race, and Glenn still has this lead here. He's starting to just eke it out a little bit to Freddie at the moment, but every time we get to a DRS zone, Freddie's given a bit of a lifeline here. As we see Justify coming into the pits. So the soft tyres finally coming off of that McLaren, and Justify is going to pull into the pit box now. There we go. And let's see what's going on. Medium tyres going on for Justify. So that'll be 19 lap stint on the medium tyres. Should be able to push them to their limit, I would have thought. Not going to have to hold back too much there is Justify. And Justify's going to come out well ahead of Matty Pitt. Well ahead of Matty Pitt. So Matty Pitt's really lost out in this race due to that little mistake that we saw coming out of the final corner. But Justify in a decent position right now, and he's going for the undercut here. He's got much fresher tyres than the likes of Glenn and Freddie. So now's Justify's time to really push and try and execute that delta which you need. Glenn and Freddie still out there, but are they going to cover Justify off, knowing that they'd have to go a long way on the soft tyres? I reckon they're going to probably stay out for a few laps and then have the soft tyres at the end, which should have the pace over Justify. But saying that, the medium tyres certainly had the advantage for most of that stint just now. I have to say, the softs only really had an advantage for about the first 3 or 4 laps, and they are coming straight in here. So Glenn and Freddie covering Justify off. I wonder if they're going to put the hards on, because this is a little far out. I think they're just covering him off here. Yeah, Freddie. Glenn's gone for the hards. Freddie, what's he going for? He's also going for the hards. That's not surprising at all there for me, because I felt like they had to cover Justify off to avoid losing too much time. Justify now coming down the start-finish straight. There's Glenn out of the pits. Where's Justify? Justify just coming out of turn 1 now. And Glenn and Freddie have managed to cover off Justify with the undercut there. Obviously, they had to come in there and then, because if they waited a lap longer, then I reckon Justify probably would have had them on the undercut. So they had to come in there and then, and ultimately they've got the slower tyre as a result, but they've still got track position, and we know that overtaking can be a little bit of a pain around this Zandvoort circuit, so I suppose it does make some sense that they've done that. And now the situation is that Freddie is a couple of seconds behind Glenn on the track due to, I think, a slow pit stop by the looks of it. And Justify is now absolutely hassling the back of our Williams driver here. As we see Ice Wolf move ahead of Streetway up to P5. Came in quite early for some medium tyres, well, earlier than the others anyway. but certainly has lost out during this pit window. Street Boy is not giving this up either, as they go side by side into the stadium. Street Boy in the end has to concede that position, but he's done 19 laps on a set of softs. The tyre wear around here is practically non-existent. It's really incredible how far some of these drivers are going into this race. Street Boy, I would presume, will be coming in this time. He is, yeah, so no surprise there. But I think the only surprise is the fact that he's not coming before now. But the thing is, he's going to have way fresher tyres than everybody else, and should be able to really push in this second stint. So it'll be interesting to see what Street Boy can do, or what Street Boy can do over the course of the rest of this race. Mark and Faulkner both in. Mark's back in the pits, so it's picked up damage over the last couple of laps here, and presumably a penalty as well by the looks of it. Or no, just a slow pit stop there for Mark, and off and away. So the only driver now still yet to pit in this race is T, and T has got the leaders now, or the net leaders coming back on the rear of him. So that sounded wrong, didn't it? But Glenn is currently in the box seat here to make this move on the Mercedes. I wonder if T's going to box this lap. Could probably put the mediums on from here. I mean, to be honest, we've seen over the course of this race, very counterintuitively, that the soft tyres can do 16 laps quite easily on paper. So, or not just on paper, obviously we've seen the proof. But he's coming into the pits this time around, so obviously you can see the leaders coming around, knows he's just going to be slowed down anyway. So T's going to come into the pits, and what tyres is he putting on? Let's see, as he pulls into the box now. And medium tyres there for the Mercedes. Off and away goes T. But Clen's still with a 2-second gap over Justify at the moment. Freddie's still right there on the back of Justify at this moment in time, still keeping him on his toes for the time being. So T's come out of the pits in P6. A few seconds behind Matty Pitt, well ahead of Street Boy running in P7. So Clen here with a 2.5 second gap right now over Justify, who's got just about a second to Freddie. So Justify actually tucking into some good pace here in second place, pulling away from Freddie a little bit over the last lap or so. Justify on those freshish medium tyres, and just starting to get a bit of confidence here for sure. But are those mediums gonna be better than the hards for the duration of the stint, or is this only a temporary thing here for Justify? As we see over the line here, Justify a bit slower than Ken on that last lap as well, so needs to pick up the pace if we're going to see a lead change here. Ken has got a penalty. Oh my god, Clen's got 10 seconds, so that will give Justify the win by default here as things stand. So Clen must have got done for speeding in the pit lane, must have gone a little bit too hot into the old pits. And as a result, Justify currently in a net lead, and it's got a second and a half to Freddie, so it's got a bit of comfort here out the front, let's say. Got Rexy Boy in the comments saying, "Go on, lads." Rexy Boy, not with us tonight. Are you watching the Arsenal game as well, Rexy Boy? I've heard rumours going around that there were some deserters tonight due to some football being on the telly. Saying that I did actually say at the start of the race that it's quite a big deal having an English team in the Champions League semi-final. So hopefully Arsenal can do it. I don't know. Last time I saw they were 1-0 down, so I don't know what the score is now. If you know, it'd be great to know. But currently, Clanny's got the gap of just under 4 seconds. What's the score, mate? Because I know it was 1-0 last time I looked. That was I saw the goal. Just I was getting a snack just before qualifying. But yeah, still 1-0 PSG. Bollocks. Well, it's 2 legs, isn't it? So, well, hopefully they can do the business in the away leg. Still got time in this one, haven't they? Must be half time. But yeah, looks like Justified's pulling away from Freddie at the moment. Just seems to have more confidence on the medium tyres, but Glenn is flying on the hards out the front, saying that with that 10-second penalty, it will come to bite him at the end of the race. Ice Wolf has dropped away royally in this second stint. Was keeping tabs with the leaders in the first stint, was right there with the likes of Glenn, Justified, Freddie, and Matty Pitt as well. But obviously Matty made that mistake out of the last corner, hit the wall, and ultimately had to come into the pits for damage repairs for the front wing, and that really cost him here in this one. But yeah, definitely into the business part of this race now, and the race currently settling down a little bit. Obviously, with less drivers on the track, it tends to mean that you see a bit less action, because obviously everyone's a bit more spread out than usual. So at this point in the race, it does appear like there's not really a whole lot going on. Glenn just doing the business, but it's very unlikely that we're going to be seeing a 10-second gap between Glenn and Justified by the end of the race. As long as Justified can keep it on the island, we should be, I think, seeing the McLaren driver taking maximum points, and it'll be a much needed win for him as well, because Glenn leading the championship, it couldn't have been going much worse for Justified if Glenn had gone on to win this race. But as things stand, it'll be it makes a difference of 14 points whether or not one of these two wins, because if Glenn wins, he gains 7 points on Justify, and if Justify wins, then it's going to be 7 points the other way. So essentially, you know, you got 40. It's a 14 pointer between these two, and they're both in the championship fight. Matty Pitt, with 9 races left after tonight, may have just put the nail in his chances this season of retaining his crown, which he won last season. But obviously with Davidoff not here as well, so that's the of the 4 championship contenders, I would say that Matty and Davidoff are certainly now the slimmest. I'd say it's well, Davidoff is still very close to Clan Sheehan, to be fair, in the standings before tonight. So actually, I wouldn't rule him out at all, especially after Spa. But yeah, for sure, it's going to hurt him tonight. Justify will be still in the mix after tonight. G.C.'s retired from the race, and we have got a safety car, so it must have been a crash, and that is going to bring out a lot of different strategies here. Is anybody going to come in for the soft tyres in the closing stages? Oh, Freddie was in the right place at the right time. Look at that. Freddie must have been just coming around the final corner as that safety car was called. And look at that. Look at that, Freddie on the ball. Let's put those soft tyres on, and this could be a race victory for Freddie here in this one. We know the soft tyres can easily go 10 laps. So this could be Freddie's moment here tonight for sure. So stay tuned, guys, because Freddie on those soft tyres is going to be a massive threat to the 2 championship contenders out ahead of him, of Glenn and Justified. I think Glenn and Justified will be able to pit. That's the thing. But Glenn will lose track position on Justify. Yeah, to be fair, they probably will pick. They probably will come in. They've probably got time to come in. So I don't know if Freddie will get the advantage here. Let's wait and see what Glenn does here. Or Justify, should I say. So Glenn's coming in, so is Justify. So yeah, they're all putting soft tyres on. So Freddie doesn't get a benefit there. I thought he might, but the safety car will be picking up after this. So yeah, unfortunately there for Freddie, not able to capitalise on that one. So Glenn off and away. Justify hasn't got a set of softs, so Justify's gone for the mediums. That could be a bit of a disadvantage here. So we'll have to watch that one closely. Glenn has got a set of softs. Oh, Freddie's going to move through. Into second place goes Freddie. So Freddie has definitely won here in this in this safety car stakes here, because he's now into second place ahead of Glenn. Glenn's dropped behind T as well, which gives Freddie a bit of a cushion. And Freddie is on the soft tyres compared to Justify, who used his soft tyres in qualifying. So that Justify's used, or the last set of softs were used in the race, but clearly an extra set were used in quali. Justify hasn't got any soft tyres left, so the medium tyres will have to do for this probably 8-lap dash to the flag once we get going. So Freddie's got to be the favourite here, our Williams driver tonight. I've seen him win one race before. That was at Imola in the Flat Out Racing League, which used to run on the Monday nights. Long time ago, that one. So yeah, Freddie could this be the second time he takes a victory on the Motive Racing channel. What a night it'd be if he can do that. I don't know if he's taken a win at Purple Sector before. Certainly not when we've been broadcasting, but he might have taken a win when we haven't been broadcasting behind closed doors. So this is it then. Business part of the race. Be an 8-lap dash, I reckon, because we should be going this lap. I can't see any reason why we wouldn't be, because C4 is almost on the back of the train now, so this will be the last lap under safety car. And then we should be ready to go for the final dash to the flag here. As there's a few of you now tuning in, good to see. 7 of you currently watching live on YouTube. The situation is, we've had a late safety car. Freddie put the soft tyres on and has gained a place through the safety car. It was very conveniently timed for Freddie, and Clen lost track position, has dropped down to 4th place. Justify leads the race but only has mediums left, doesn't have any soft tyres left, so has had to go for the less grippy tyre, which could allow Freddie to have a real crack at him in these final few laps. So Freddie in the pound seat here in this one, but is he going to be able to convert that opportunity into a potential race win? Johan Ortiz saying, go on boys. Johan, oh, it must be Mr. Johan. Yeah, Mr. Johan there in the comments. Good to see one of our regular races here in Purple Sector on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And voicing his words of encouragement there to his fellow racers here. We're out on track tonight, the 11 who turned up. Obviously 10 of them still remain after the retirement of G.C. a couple of laps ago. So there we go then, notification is official. Safety car's in this lap. We already knew that anyway, it was pretty obvious. But come on, Street Boy. You pussy, P7 is yours, says Rexy Boy. B9 he's currently running in at the moment, so essentially there could be opportunities on the table here for our Ferrari driver. Rexy Boy wants to see a strong showing from his teammate in the late stage of this race. Here we are then, coming through the final corner. And it's going to be justified to get us back underway. No passing before the line. Freddie's got to time it right. Here we go, we're racing. And Freddie has timed it beautifully there. He was right on his chuff there as it came over the line. And Freddie leads into turn 1. But Justified's going to try and hold it around the outside. Can he keep the grip there to do so? Freddie on the inside. Justified manages to keep that around the outside really nicely there. And Freddie has to concede that one for the time being. But he's still right there as they come through the back left-hander. And Freddie looking back down the inside. Bit of contact there between them. My goodness me. That was close to tears there between the two of them. And in the end, Justified had to counter steer. Freddie had to put the anchors on to avoid them both getting stuck together there, and somehow they've managed to survive that one, but that was a close shave there for both of those two. Justify still leading ahead of Freddie, with T running in 3rd place ahead of Clen, who dropped the position during the safety car period. Ice12 there in 5th ahead of Matty Pitt, who's been brought back into this race somewhat with the safety car. He's now right there, obviously, with the whole pack being bunched up again, and he's going to get the undercut there. He's going to get the cutback on Ice Wolf, and he does that beautifully there up into 5th place, but Ice Wolf's not done. But Matty Pitt does get that move done around the outside into the stadium section. So that's now job done there for Matty Pitt. But in the meantime, Freddie is absolutely hassling the back of the race leader as they come through the final corner. The thing is, the soft tyres will be the advantageous tyre for the first part of this stint, but then maybe in the last couple of laps the medium tyres will get a bit of a second wind, and we could be seeing Justify coming back at him. So Freddie wants to get track position as soon as he possibly can here. As in the background there, you've got Clen making the move down the inside of T up into 3rd place. Tito's going to try and hold it around the outside, can't do it, and Clen makes that move up to 3rd place stick. But Freddie is really putting Justify under tremendous pressure at the moment. He's looking to seize the initiative here in the first part of this final stint. He knows he needs to get ahead of him soon, because the soft tyres will be going off in the last couple of laps compared to the mediums, albeit the softs can comfortably last 15 to 18 laps around this track. but we know obviously that the mediums will be in a better state. That's the thing. So it's all relative with tyres, and obviously the mediums will be the better tyre after a few laps. But nonetheless, Freddie is keeping Justify, looking in his mirrors right now. Glenn is right there with them as well, though, and might be fancying a bit of this action. Freddie will have DRS on Justify. That should prevent Glenn from having a run on him. But who knows at this point as we come through the final corner, and Freddie is within 0.3 of a second. This is surely going to be a move for the lead as they come down the start-finish straight. Here we go then. The McLaren of Justify in front, but Freddie now pulls out to the inside. Here comes Glenn as well. It's going to be possibly 3 wide. No, Glenn makes the move through, and Freddie leads into turn 1. Glenn can't make the move on him, but Justify losing 2 places there down the start-finish straight, and at the moment, Freddie has a slender lead. But for how much longer these soft tyres going to hang in there? Freddie and Glenn are going to find that over the last couple of laps of the race, Justify will probably be quicker than them. So these guys need to get on with it whilst they have the tyres underneath them to do so. But at the moment, Glenn is really throwing the kitchen sink on the back of Freddie. The championship leader knows there's a big opportunity to gain massive points here with massive pit down in P5. Davidoff not here, and he's ahead of Justify at the moment as well. So he could be extending the gap here in the points as they come through this into the DRS section here, down towards the stadium once again. And Glenn just a little bit too far away into the braking zone at the moment, but surely he's going to look to try and make a move down the start-finish straight. If he can keep himself close to Freddie through this part of the track, then I can't see Freddie having a chance to defend this one. As here we go then, out of the final corner, Glenn's going to make this move rather easily here, but Justifies too far away from these two to make a move coming into turn 1. So Glenn now leads the race. Freddie's going to try and stick to the back of him, you would have thought. But Glenn has made a rapid start to this restart. Yeah, he really was on it. He was obviously 4th behind T to start off with, but made light work of T and made his way through ahead of Justified. Now has picked off Freddie for P1 here in these closing stages. Can Freddie stick with him and maybe have an answer to him in these final 5 laps of the race? As we're on board here with Freddie coming through the middle sector, seems like Glenn just stretching his legs a little bit, starting to pull out the gap ever so slightly. What has Freddie got in response to him here as we come now through this next DRS zone, which will bring him into play a little bit more here? You can see here closing speed, getting closer and closer and closer into the stadium we go. Now, can he nail this part of the track? If he can, he'll be close enough coming down the straight. No, again Glenn is just managing to extend through this part of the track, through these medium to slow speed corners. I'm seeing a bit of rain here, very, very light rain falling. I don't think it's going to be a factor in this race. You can see how light it is. Not even drizzle, I would say. It's very, it's spaced out, tiny little raindrops. But yeah, I can't see it making a difference to track conditions before the end of the race. But nonetheless, Freddie is still keeping Glenn on his toes at the moment. Glenn isn't quite out of the woods yet. But I'll tell you what, these two are gap Justify on those medium tyres. The soft seem to be holding up pretty well in his final stint at the moment. But Freddie, to be fair, is keeping Glenn looking in his rearview mirrors. And the thing is, he's not further away than he was in the previous lap. As Rexy Boy there says, Arsenal is 1-1. Arsenal will equalise here, which is absolutely brilliant. So hopefully they can go into the second leg, because obviously they're at home, aren't they, this one? So they need to be really winning this one, don't they? But yeah, here we are then. So Freddie still on the back of Glenn at the moment. As here we come through the final corner. He's still just about within DRS at the moment. Obviously the track is nowhere near wet enough to take the DRS away at this point. So it will be seeing the DRS, I think, until the end of the race. I can't see them revoking the DRS here. But nonetheless, the gap 0.8 of a second, and Freddie only just hang on to the DRS that time around. So if he loses any time to Glenn over the course of this lap, then he will be out of that DRS by the end of the race, or by the end of this lap, should I say. As you see there, the gap just creeping up to a second here. This could be Freddie out of that range where he can get the rear wing open in a few moments' time, unless he has a very strong middle sector here. He's going to have to, I think, take a few risks here through this part of the track to try and hang on to the back of Glenn. Glenn just creeps over a second there to Freddie. So now Glenn has got the upper hand here, has certainly got a bit of an ascendancy right now. And this time around, Freddie doesn't have DRS down this zone. This isn't the part of the track where you can overtake, but it is certainly a part of the track where you can gain on the driver in front if you have DRS, and then it can set you up for the main DRS zone, the down start finish straight. So I think the ship may have sailed here for Freddie. I reckon Glenn is in a position to see this one out here in the closing laps of this race, as the rain's starting to just trickle down a little bit more now. In these conditions where it's still slick tyres, you find that softs have more of an advantage over the mediums when it's slippery than when the track's bone dry, because the softs grip up very well. They have a very good contact patch with the surface, and what that does is in the wet conditions that really enhances the feeling underneath you. So you find that the mediums and especially the hards tend to fall off a lot more in these conditions. The softs aren't cut out for these conditions, but out of the three they're certainly the most suitable, and the inters wouldn't be really they wouldn't be right at the right temperatures. They wouldn't be able to operate with this little rain on the track as well. The track would not be wet enough for the inters to have any sort of purchase, and you'd find that they were overheating and they'd be basically shot within a few laps. So it wouldn't be worth doing. But also the pit stop time as well at this stage wouldn't be very advantageous for anyone. But nonetheless, coming through towards the we're about to start the final lap of the race here. Oh my god, you're joking, Rexy boy, for God's sake. Bloody VAR. I mean, it's great, but it's also shocking as well. It's yeah, I wouldn't say it's the reason why I don't watch football anymore, but it's part, certainly a factor. God, that's a ball ache. But nonetheless, Glenn has got the gap at 2 seconds here on the final lap of the race, and it's looking very much like this one should be in the bag here for our Red Bull driver, and the championship leader will extend the gap in the points. Freddie gave it a heck of a good go, didn't he? I tell you what, he fought it all the way to the final lap, but he's going to be just about 2 seconds behind the race runner by the end of the race. Justify there running in the final podium place, some decent points, but we're losing out to the championship leader, who's going to once again show that in the races there is no better driver in this purple sector Formula 1 league at the moment. I'd say qualifying king on balance has probably been justified over the course of this season, but Glenn, over the course of a race distance, seems to be the man with the plan. And here we come then, through into the final corner here at Zandvoort for this Dutch Grand Prix here at the purple sector Formula 1 league. Gino Cedar says he should have watched the footy. Well, yeah, it would have been a similar result, wouldn't it? But Glenn, nonetheless, comes over the line to take the checkered flag, and he's going to win the Dutch Grand Prix here at the purple sector Formula 1 league here for round 15 of 24 for season 12. Freddie takes second place in the end with a very creditable drive indeed there. Justified takes the final podium place ahead of T in fourth, with Matty Pitt over in P5. C. Faulkner finished in sixth in the end. A very quiet race for C. Faulkner after starting on the front row. Actually came back towards the end of that race, but was very much under the radar with everyone else. We've got Street Boy coming up towards the line. It'll be seventh place here for Street Boy, with White Shadow Hull over in well, it was 8th, but now it's 9th because Mark gets it on the penalty. So Mark 8th, White Shadow Hull 9th, and Icewolf meets the classification there in 10th place. And that is that then, guys, for tonight's action here in the purple sector Formula 1 league. Some great racing on show here tonight, and congratulations to Glenn there on coming from 10th to 1st place. You absolutely cannot fault Glenn for the drives he's been putting in, and yeah, to come from the back of the pack. I know it's only a 10-car field, but even so, a phenomenal drive there from the championship leader, showing why he's in the championship, and would be a very deserved champion if things continue to go the way they are at the moment. Well done to Glenn. In the meantime, that is that, guys, for tonight here at Purple Sector. Make sure you join us on Thursday night. We'll be back as always at 8 p.m. UK time. We'll be live from Monza for the Italian Grand Prix at 8 p.m. UK time. And yeah, we'll see you all very, very soon. Take it easy. See you there.